Have you ever experienced a memory which seemed to change over time? By that, I mean, is there a moment in your life that you vividly recall, yet something about it always felt a little off? Scientifically, this is usually referred to as a repressed memory. Over time, these memories occasionally begin to shift and change, the true details becoming clearer as time goes by. This phenomenon is usually what is called memory reconstruction. This occurs when a person has seen or experienced a traumatic event, something that leaves a mental scar to some degree. Repressing these memories, it is the brain's way of protecting us from the pain or the fear of reliving those moments. It is quite remarkable, the human mind's ability to recognize and act on this seemingly autonomously. I bring this up because this happened to me very recently. There is quite a distant memory which had lived in my mind for many, many years. For all this time, it seemed to me to be quite a mundane and insignificant memory. So I was always confused as to why it continued to rise to the surface of my consciousness, seemingly at random times, and always catching me off guard. I guess I need to take you back to set the scene. I was young, and I mean really young. We're talking 1995 or thereabouts. I would have been maybe 5 or 6 years old at this time. We lived in a small, quaint little home, about 20 minutes drive outside a minor city in southeast Queensland, Australia. Our home sat on 10 acres of land, and beyond the fence lines, bushland as far as the eye could see. It was your typical 90s home. Picture a linoleum kitchen floor in that weird greenish tint with the diamond patterns on it, fake wood paneling up the walls, an obnoxiously loud wall clock sitting front and center in the kitchen, a beige carpeted living area with 2 mismatched couches and a tiny box television in the corner. Like I said, quaint and very 90s. This particular day was like any other. It was summer and very hot, obviously. My parents were both at work, and my brother was down the back paddock mowing. I recall vividly sitting in our living room, playing with my little Hot Wheels cars, as terrible midday television blared out from the set behind me. Yeah, very stereotypical, I know. I mention this only to paint the picture that I do distinctly remember everything about this day. Or I thought I did anyway. This is where the tale takes a strange turn. See, for the longest time, I remember looking up from my toys and seeing my father standing there at the back door. It was one of those screen doors that many homes had back then. The ones with the metal frame and a square sheet of insect screen in the center. So I could see him there on the other side, looking in at me. For many, many years, I remembered my father staring down at me and asking to come inside, for me to get up and unlock the door so he could do so. But for some strange reason, I simply could not recall until now. I did not want to open that door and let him in. For all this time, I put this down to the idea that I was just being a typical cheeky little kid, refusing to let my dad come in the door. Memories are fickle things, aren't they? As I got older, the more that memory surfaced, the more I began to question this series of events. The more I questioned things, the more the fog began to lift, the more the memory began to shift and change. Now, I remember that day in crystal clarity. What I saw when I looked up at that door was not my father. I sat there, my little Hot Wheels car in hand, watching as this dark, oddly shaped thing stared inside at me. I noticed it was slightly swaying, as if being gently swished back and forth by the light breeze that day. I remembered everything in that single moment. Oh God, it was awful. That's why I didn't want to open the door. It's not because I was playing some silly game with my father. I just didn't want this thing to come in. Perhaps what I remember most clearly was the sheer silence of those long few minutes. I recall the rustling of the wind through the mulberry bushes outside. I recall the rhythmic ticking of that clock. And another sound. Not something I had ever heard before, or ever have again. It was a voice, along with that damned awful clock, hammering away at my brain. A deep, gurgling voice very clearly spoke to me. Tick, tock.
Shall I come in? Shall I?
Tick, tock.
Might you be unlocking the door?
Tick, tock.
It's a little warm in here. The breeze might cool things down.
Tick, tock.
Your parents will be home soon. They might get mad if you don't open the door and let the dog out.
Tick, tock. And so it went on and on. For many, many long minutes, it stood there, speaking to me, staring in at me on the floor. This awful thing, it wasn't directly telling me to let it inside as such. It was, for some reason, trying to manipulate me into it being my choice to let it in. For all that time, I sat there, frozen in fear, unable to move. I do not believe that there was some otherworldly supernatural force preventing me from moving. No, I simply could not draw myself away from that spot. I couldn't summon the physical strength needed to force my legs to do their job, nor did I have the mental capacity to do so. You may ask, of course, how can I be sure this actually happened? If memories truly are these fluid, interchangeable constructs that can simply rearrange themselves at will, how can I know for sure if the events of this day really happened the way I've just described them? All I can tell you is that it is a palpable difference. Where before, this memory existed as something of a picture book which would flash before my mind's eye occasionally, the details I recall now are something that I can feel with every fibre of my being. I remember this as vividly as I can recall events from 2 days ago. That's really all I can offer. In my heart, I know this to be true. We have some very strange ghost stories in Australia. Growing up, I would hear all manner of tales about bush spirits wandering the vast expanse of the outback, causing mischief and mayhem upon anyone who might happen across their paths. On the other end of the spectrum, we also have our stories of malicious beings, things that are tied to this world and remain here for the sole purpose of causing pain and suffering. I wish that this memory had stayed repressed. I dare not even guess as to which type of entity I encountered that day, so long ago.